The six main subjects of arts. Still life. Depict things that are still and don't move. Landscape. It is the visible features of an area of land. Nature. To display the beauty of the natural world around us. Portraiture is the recording of an individual's appearance and personality. Abstract uses visual language of shape, form, color, and line to create a composition which may exist with a degree of independence from visual references in the world. Day of the Dead. The name given to all the folk arts, features, handicraft, and souvenir made for this celebration or as a consequence of it.
A still life painting can contain a number of objects which are placed in a certain arrangement. Due to it being a popular genre, artists have created everything from realistic still life fruit paintings to abstract still lifes, each giving the objective arrangement of various objects their own unique interpretation. Van Workapole was an accomplished still life painter, though little is known about the trajectory of his career. Born in Dordrecht in 1644, he established himself in Amsterdam in 1673 and remained there until the end of his life. His approach to still life painting relates to that of John Davidge de Him, who similarly relished in the complex and versatile beauty of the visible world. Van Workapole's work nevertheless differed from de Him's mature painting in its compositional restraint and elegant simplicity. Though modest in size and compass, this still life painting by Jacob has a remarkable sense of grandeur. Assembling only a few objects on a plain stone ledge, the artist has conveyed a monumentality of presence usually found in much larger and more complex still lifes. Wrapped in soft light, every figural element quietly asserts its essential properties. The Venetian-style glass, filled with wine sparkles against a somber dark background, the pomegranate bursting with seeds invites the viewer to imagine its ripe taste, as do the grapes spilling over the edge. In addition to their simple beauty, these items are also part of a long iconographic tradition within still life painting. The grapes and wine evoke the Eucharist, while pomegranates have complex associations with Christ's suffering and the resurrection. In this sense, Van Workapole's painting encourages the viewer to contemplate Christ's sacrifice and eventual rebirth.
Ever wondered what it feels like when you succeed to find your inner tranquility, the peace and consensus we crave in our life, the enticing sense and touch of freedom we want to obtain? As I saw and have a glimpse of the painting The Haywain by John Constable, it emits the desirable beauty of nature and the extent how which it can change our life in harmony. I felt a touch as someone who wants to experience that kind of scenery and life. Away from the noise and crowded buildings of the city, away from the toxicity of society, and away from abuse and discrimination. While we appreciate this art, let us also discern the precise strokes of brush and lines to create this landscape's masterpiece. It was inspired by a house far from any lines of communication, but only intact with the surroundings of the environment. Stable created landscapes that were so memorable that only the most hard-nosed, inquisitive viewer would want to see behind their facade. John Constable was an English landscape painter in the Romantic tradition. Born in Suffolk, he is known principally for revolutionizing the genre of landscape painting with his picture of Dedham. He is born on June 11, 1776 at East Bergot, United Kingdom. He is died in March 31, 1837, Hampstead, London, in United Kingdom. John Constable is a British. It is beautiful and lovely. Let us sigh all our negatives and let us learn from the quote. Look deep into nature and then you will understand everything better, by Albert Einstein. Then again, this is your host, Jamaica Ferrer, signing off in today's podcast. Thank you.
Greetings to all people around the world, especially to those who are listening to me right now. Welcome to the Jun Harris podcast, and I hope you stay with me until the end of this review about nature painting. Today, we will talk a little deeper about nature painting. Nature painting is to show the beauty of nature beyond the techniques used, such as mountains, trees, or bodies of water without human intervention. Nature paintings are usually referred to as landscape or scenery. One of the most famous nature paintings is The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. This painting was completed in the year 1889. It is not just the only one of his famous artwork, but also one of his most famous artwork. Starry Night is one of the most recognized pieces of art in the world. It is absolutely everywhere too. It can be seen on coffee, mags, t-shirts, towels, magnets, and etc. Honestly, it sometimes feels as if the painting's fame has exceeded that of its creator. It is a magnificent piece of art. The Starry Night resonates with so many people as a testament to how its beauty is timeless and universal. Vincent van Gogh painted The Starry Night in 1889 during his stay at the Sea Room of St. Paul de Moselle near Saint Remy de Provence. Van Gogh lived well in the hospital. He was allowed more freedoms than any of the other patients. If attended, he could leave the hospital grounds. He was allowed to paint, read, and withdraw into his own room. He was given a studio. While he suffered from the occasional relapse into paranoia and fits, officially he had been diagnosed with epileptic fits. It seemed his mental health was recovering. Unfortunately, he relapsed. He began to suffer hallucination and have thoughts of suicide as he plunged into depression. Accordingly, there was a tonal shift in his work. He returned to incorporating the darker colors from the beginning of his career, and The Starry Night is a wonderful example of that shift. Blue dominates the painting, blending hills into the sky. The little village lays at the base in the painting in browns, grays, and blues. Even though each building is clearly outlined in black, the yellow and white of the stars and the moon stand out against the sky, drawing the eyes to the sky. They are the big attention grabber of the painting. Van Gogh preferred to layer his paint thickly on the canvas in a method called impasto. Starry Night is an oil painting impasto on canvas, done during the post-impressionist period, Artibald 2014. It is 73.7 by 92.1 centimeters. Within the painting, Van Gogh uses a contrast in lines to show depth, as he painted the city with calm, straight lines and the sky in a chaotic swirls. In addition, the town's solid linear lines are meant to show that it is quiet and without movement it is asleep. While on the other side of the spectrum is the sky full of languid lines that swirl because the painter wants the viewer to feel how alive the sky is. He wrote his brother Theo. The Starry Night is more alive and more richly colored than the day, Varnadeo, which has been thought to mean that Van Gogh was more invested in the stars than he was the city below them. The underlying landscape is uniform other than cypresses in the foreground. It is separate from the city and contains moving lines that create an almost flame-like shape. It is the only object in the painting that is more a part of the night sky than the background of the city. The combination of the impasto technique and the varying line structure gives viewer the impression that the painting is moving, thus capturing the life Van Gogh sees in the painting titled Starry Night. If you are still here and hearing this message, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you enjoyed what we talked about. Again, thank you for listening to the Jinhara's podcast.
Painted a decade before the Mona Lisa, Lady with an Ermine is the portrait of Ludovico's mistress. Cecilia Ludovico was Leonardo's patron for over 18 years. Painting connotation points to the close relationship between the two lovers, as the essence of the Duke is portrayed in the muscular Hermine. This is one of the only 4 portraits of women Leonardo has ever painted. It highly influenced the following ones. It is a prime example of multiple innovations, the use of oil paint which had only been introduced in 1470s. The 3/4 of profile portrait, one of Leonardo's many inventions, a choice that was greatly unconventional for portraiture, and which suggested motion and movement for the sitter. When analyzed as a whole, all 4 portraits seem to convey mystifying qualities of this unreadable and intriguing woman. Another great innovation which introduced qualities of mystery, emotional depth, and psychological drama to the standard descriptive nature of portraiture
Wassily Kandinsky, considered by many historians to be the father of abstract painting. But before abstractionism he participated in various artistic movements such as Impressionism, also went through a short Fauvan expressionist phase. He wrote books, as in 1911, on the spiritual in art, in which he sought to point out symbolic correspondences between the inner impulses and the language of shapes and colors, and in 1926, From the Point and the Line to the Surface, a more technical explanation of the construction and inventiveness of your art. A pinnacle of Kandinsky's Blue Rider period. Composition 7 stands as the embodiment of spirituality and musicality in a single, great abstract masterpiece. The artist believed that only abstract forms render the true essence of the soul. By giving life to the trumpeting angels, a horseman, and Elijah's chariot of fire, Kandinsky resurrects the apocalyptic theme from his previous works and sketches. For this artwork alone, he created over 30 preliminary sketches. Only the viewer gifted with a distinguishable imagination can perceive the subtle religious connotations. However violent and daunting, Composition 7 strikes a sense of cosmological harmony and strength. Living in Munich at the time, Kandinsky published in 1910 the book concerning the spiritual in art. His intimacy with the subject is sensed first-hand in his work. Nevertheless, in the book the artist introduces 3 different types of artistic inspiration. The first one, impression, reflects the outside world, while improvisation and composition struggle with the unconscious and inner expression of art. Being aware of his changing reality, Kandinsky shaped throughout his prophetic visions the future of abstract art.
Diego Rivera, a muralist and a painter, amassed an enormous collection of panoramic portrayals of Mexican history and daily life, from its Mayan beginnings up to the Mexican Revolution and post-revolutionary present, in a style largely indebted to pre-Columbian culture. One particular masterpiece of the great Diego Rivera is his mural entitled Day of the Dead. This artwork parallels the celebration of El Dia de los Muertos, which is an ancient Mexican celebration in which families reconnect with departed ancestors, remembering and celebrating the life and legacy of those who have moved ahead into the sacred lands of Mictlan, the realm of the fleshless. Rivera, being the creative artist that he was, gained traction on festivity and made it into a timeless art. In this mural, Rivera represented a worker, a farmer, and a soldier in true puppet calavera figures with guitars. For Rivera and others, when the worker, farmer, and soldier united, they would continue the project of the Mexican Revolution. Here Rivera ties the scenes of celebration of this holiday back to the political context of post-revolutionary Mexico. Rivera also included a self-portrait in the crowded street scene. He looks out at the viewer from amidst the various classes of people represented, indicating his role as observer. Indeed, the great Diego Rivera used Day of the Dead imagery in his murals, but to highlight Mexican traditional practices to commemorate the dead as well as to communicate a Mexican way of looking at the nature of life itself.